What's up, guys? Man, I just got my ass handed to me by a guy half my age and 80 pounds lighter than me. Listen, if you are in massive hip pain, if you got massive hip pain and your doctor's already told you that you need a hip replacement surgery, don't wait on it. Don't put it off. Get it done. All right, I'm 52 now, and I've been in public safety for 32 years. Started in police, been in fire for 21 years. I work on a helicopter, and I'm a SWAT medic. And I'm here to tell you I got a hip replacement at 48, and I want to talk to you today about it. So I'm going to get right into it. All right, so like I said, I've been in public safety for 32 years. Started in police, and I've been in fire for 21 years. So my whole adult life, pretty much since I was 20, I've been either wearing body armor, gun belt, SCBA pack, plate carrier in SWAT, jumping off the Bearcat. I work in a helicopter, so constantly bouncing around in rigs and running. I've done a lot of running, like for fitness purposes. So back in 2019, we were doing a tactical medic school, and I was cadreing. I was one of the cadres in the school as a lead instructor for the medical portion, and we were doing a lot of running. We were running upwards of 8 miles a day, and that was 2019. What is it? It's 20. That was what is that? 6 years ago? It's 2025 now. Yeah, help me out with the math. Yeah, 6 years ago. I can't think right now. I'm still out of breath, but a lot of running. So that school ended like in April. In June, I started. We go every year to we rent an apartment on the beach, and I get out and I run on the sand. And I came back one morning and I was like, man, I really need to start stretching because it hurt to touch my toes. Well, that pain just progressed, and it was a pain in the groin, right in the groin. If you have this pain, you know what I'm talking about. You probably need a hip replacement. There's pain in the groin and on the lateral, like glute. And it felt like a stabbing. Hold on, let me fix this. It felt like a stabbing, almost like a hot poker from a fireplace on both sides. Well, it got to the point where I could barely even put on my socks, but I was still running. Went to see, after like 6 months of that, my wife told me, you're limping too much. You should go see an orthopedist, which I did. But if you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough. He told me to stop running, and I said, well, that doesn't apply to me because, you know, I'm a big bad SWAT guy, so I'm gonna keep running. And I did. And like I said, if you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough. So I kept running, and it got to the point where I couldn't even run a mile without just being in excruciating pain and limping all the way home. So finally went to see another surgeon, and I had tried PRP, I had tried the BPC 157 peptides, I had tried all that. I had gone to chiropractors, I had done physical therapy, none of it worked. I went to see a surgeon quite a ways away at the referral, from the referral, one of the guys at the station, and he told me, have you even seen, and I'll put my x-rays up here, have you even seen your x-rays? He's like, stop wasting your money on the peptides and the PRP and all that. You're bone on bone. You need a total hip replacement. Now, the only experience I have with a total hip replacement was of my dad in the 80s getting a hip replacement where he got filleted open on the lateral hip, and they completely opened him to do whatever they did. And he was in the ICU for like 2 days. So, of course, I'm a firefighter, paramedic, I work on a helicopter. What am I thinking? I'm like, they're going to cut me open. And I knew it wasn't that case anymore. I knew it was a small incision in the front, and that's where they did everything through. But I had that thought of my dad and how long it took him to recover, and am I going to be able to do this job again? So I'm here to tell you, at 48, I got that surgery. I walked into the hospital at like 7 in the morning. They prepped me at 8 in the morning. I went into surgery, and they told me, and I'll put the video up here, the nurse came in. When I came out of surgery, she said, as soon as we can see you walk with the walker, we'll sign you out and you can go home. And I was like, give me the walker. And my wife was like, babe, sit down. Don't be a clown. So grabbed the walker, and I went out to the hallway, and I walked, And they were like, all right. So she signed me up, and I'm going to tell you what I did to prepare for this. I mean, I don't know that there's much preparing, but it's what I did. So I walked out of I was wheeled out of the hospital. I walked out of the hospital at around 12:30 in the afternoon. Went home. They set me up for a physical therapist to come to the house 2 days later to come evaluate me. And I had been on the walker for a day. After a day, I chucked the walker, and the physical therapist came over and said, let me see you walk. Why aren't you using the walker? I said, well, I chucked it. He said, well, let me see you walk. I walked back and forth a couple of times, and he said, you don't need me. You just need to walk. And that was the homework he gave me. He said, just go out and walk around the neighborhood, but don't get sweaty. So I'm here to tell you, you might not be jumping out of jumping out of helicopters and wearing plate carriers and pounding your body like I have for 32 years. You may work in an office, you may do whatever, you may work in construction, but the pain is the same. The pain is the same. And one thing I learned, because I just recently, so it all started because of a labral tear. I tore the labrum in my left hip. I kept running until I shredded it down until I had nothing, because I'm hard-headed. And I recently, in March, tore my right hip labrum. Come to find out, so I stopped. I learned the hard way. This time I stopped, and I said, okay, I'm not gonna run. I'll do the elliptical and I'll do the stair mill and try to, keep working out like that, because there's really no excuse to stop. I swam a lot. So what was I saying? So this time I tore my hip labrum on the right. I went to see the same doctor, and he said, you're not worthy of a hip replacement right now because we'd have to repair it. The PA, when he saw the images, he said, I haven't even seen the MRI, but I know you have a hip labral tear because of the way that your femur is. And he says, I don't know if it's from years of training that you've created. He gave a term, and I don't even remember what it is. But basically, the femur had some bone growth on the outside that will catch the labrum, and it makes me predisposed to hip labral tears. And obviously, if you're not smart and you keep running on it, you eventually end up with a hip replacement. So, all right, let me back in here, and I'm going to get a Smoothie King, because I'm going to reward myself for going to jiu-jitsu, even though I was super sore this morning when I woke up from, this thing keeps twisting, from doing like a million lunges the other day. All right, I'll be right back. Delicious. All right, so he told me, you're bone on bone, you need to get a hip replacement. So he referred me to a hip replacement surgeon, because he was a hip guy, but he just does repairs on the first one, because that was the same guy that I saw anyway. So my point with the video is, if you need to get it done, get it done. The technology nowadays, you're in and out. So what I did to prepare for it, because here's the thing, I had one of the guys in my station had the labral tear, which is what I had in March. He went to another doctor, and they told him, you're gonna have to be out of work for 4 months on crutches. And I was like, I'm not going. I can't do that. I can't be out of work for 4 months. And so I was miserable being on a helicopter that's vibrating all the time, and getting the harness on every time we got a call. It was like, if I had a stroke on the left side, I had to pick up my leg. And that's how I had to put on my socks in misery. And if you're watching this video, it's because you're looking up hip replacement videos, and you're probably in the same pain, and you don't need to be. So that dude scared me about the procedure, and but his thing was totally different. His was a repair, which was what would have been for me if this new one. But anyway, the hip replacement. I was back to work on that helicopter in 6 weeks. 6 weeks from surgery to being back. And he said he would have signed me off sooner, but the whole fact that I might have to jump out as a rescue swimmer into the water, he wanted to make sure that the wound was completely sealed before checking me off. So obviously, if you work in an office, and you're not jumping out of helicopters or wearing plate carriers and stuff like that, you're going to be pretty good going into it. What I did to get ready for it, I did a lot of light kettlebell swings. They were painful. I'm going to say they're painful. And I will tell you, I'm not a doctor, clearly. I don't play one on TV. But I'm just telling you my experience, what I did at 48 to kind of prehab for the surgery, right? So I did a lot of this. It's a hip swing, a hip hinge movement. So I kind of strengthened that. It did hurt. So that was my cardio. I would do in sets of 100 light kettlebell swings, and I don't know. I was back to work in 6 weeks. So don't be scared of this surgery. It's a big surgery. It sounds like a lot because it is a lot, but it's a small incision in the front. They go in, they do what they got to do. I don't suggest you watch a video about it before you do it, but they go in there, and more likely than not, there's been a ton of guys in the department that have gone at relatively young, under 50, and it's kind of a pervasive surgery that I'm seeing now. Knees and shoulders too. I had my shoulder reconstruction back in 2013, but the hip, I've been seeing a lot of it in the fire service. So, and now anytime I hear somebody telling me that they have that pain, I tell them to go get it checked out and get it done, because you don't gotta live with the pain. All right, and that was my point of the video. I don't want to see other people suffering, so I'm giving you my perspective from somebody that's pounded their body for 32 years. Oh, so jiu-jitsu. I started jiu-jitsu after the surgery. So for that guy that told me you're not gonna, the guy from work that told me you're not gonna be able to run, you're not gonna do those box jumps anymore, you're not gonna run, forget about running. That's what he would tell me. You're not gonna do all that crazy stuff you do now, that SWAT stuff. I said, well, guess what? I started jiu-jitsu, keeping a promise to my girls because they were doing jiu-jitsu, and I told them that once I had my hip fixed, I would do jiu-jitsu. And then I started jiu-jitsu, and I'm still here. I've taken breaks. When I was attached to SWAT, kind of took like a year off, but I'm still doing it. And I'm just here to show you that just because you have a total hip replacement, it's not the end of the world. If you're a firefighter, if you're a first responder, cop, whatever, you can have the hip replacement and you still run. I'm not running as long as I used to, but I still go out and I'll do like zone 2 running, just kind of keep it chill, a few miles, stuff like that. Jiu-jitsu and weights, man. I still do deadlifts as heavy as I can. The doctor told me when he cleared me, he said, you can do whatever you want. I said, I can do kettlebells. He goes, you can do whatever you want. Right after the surgery, I had the surgery in July, August, whatever. In March of the following year, we went skiing. I went skiing for the first time. And you talk about being scared coming down a mountain, doing those bunny slopes, doing the pizza with the skis. When I came back home, well, actually the last day of the ski, my whole quad was black from, I guess, scar tissue and they were breaking apart, but it was black. Scared the crap out of me, but I digress. Did jiu-jitsu, skiing, all after the hip replacement. Get it done. Don't be scared. Don't be in pain. All right. I wish nothing for the best for you with this pain, because it's pretty terrible. All right. Best of luck. Stay frosty. Peace.